I was such a late starter to motorcycling. I've only been riding, I think it's my 7th year. I don't even know when I passed my test. I'll put the date up somewhere, but I sat by CBT on a wee Suzuki Van 125. It was an awesome bike, yellow one. It had square wheels. It was so funny. It felt like you could just get off the bike and it would stand up by itself. But no, they had an indoor training place, so you learn the controls of the bike, you learn everything, you do your slow riding and your figure of eights and stuff. Then they take you out onto the big bad roads. For some reason, I don't know if anyone's watched Zoolander, he can't turn right. He has to turn fully round left to go right. I'm like that. I can't turn left with things. Anything, is it that way? No, I can't turn right. I have to, it's easier for me to turn left, it's easier for me to do things anti-clockwise. So if I was going skiing or ice skating or whatever, ask me to turn left, no bother. Ask me to turn right, no chance. Anyway, that translated into motorcycle. I was turning right into junctions and the sensation of the bike leaning over, I wasn't liking it. I wasn't getting into it at all. I was trying to correct. I was trying to stand the bike upright. Of course, when you stand the bike upright, it wants to go straight. So the bike's saying, leave it with me, I'll turn right. All I have to do is lean over, and I'm going, I don't like it when you do, so I'm going to turn you back straight. And I would end up going towards curbs and things like that. My instructor at the time was a legend. He parked up the wee van. He stuck me on this pillion and took me around a couple of blocks, doing corners quite quickly, and asked me to sort of stay as neutral as I can on the bike, and got the sensation of going over and tipping over. That wee extra bit that he did really helped me. When I got back on the van, I was able to turn left and right. It sounds feckin' ridiculous that at 10 or 15 miles an hour not being able to turn my bike. So yes, I passed my CBT. Don't know what it is. I was able to do everything in that test bang on except my U-turns. I could do the figure of eights, no problem at all. But asked me to do a U-turn. So they say when you're motorcycling that, you will go where you look. Now, that's not strictly true. It's like psychologically, it's easier to turn the bike when you're looking at the direction that you want to go to. But just because I turned to the left just now doesn't mean my bike's turning left. So there's that element of it. What happened with me was you do your mod 1, which is all your slow maneuvers. So you handle the bike into the space and you do all bits and bobs, emergency stops, you do your figure of eight, and you do your U-turn. And the U-turn's all about parking about a foot away from a line and then turn the bike round in a U-turn and try and keep within. It's supposed to be the width of a road. Now, if you not ride bikes, it's actually a real skill to hone, is riding your bike slow. This is easy. This is so easy what I'm doing right now. So the bike's going forward fast, it wants to stay upright. This is a piece of piss. Anybody can do this. What's tricky is when you have to control the bike, steer the bike when it's slow. So yeah, that's it. But anyway, you learn these basic skills as part of your test. But I was doing my U-turn, and of course I'm banking the bike over to take the turn. But of course you don't want to hit the line on the other side, and that's where I start to look. I start looking at the very object that I want to avoid. But because the brain is what it is, I translates the inputs into the bars where I actually start steering towards the object I'm trying to avoid. I failed my mod 1 because I hit the line on my U-turn. Then it came to do the mod 1 the second time. Yeah, so and of course when all you want to do is get on a motorcycle and then that stops you, then that was bad. But anyway, number 2, had to wait a few times, months or weeks anyway, for the next round of tests. I was back there doing my thing, and then I was up against my U-turn nemesis again. it was compounded in my head now. The problem I had now was bigger than it was the first time I did it, because I know this was the reason I failed. So extra effort went into me, by me, to complete this maneuver correctly. And what did I go and do? Cocked it up all again. Did the same thing, trying to avoid it and looking at it. However, my instructor gave me some interesting feedback, on my examiner did. He says he could tell by the position of my head that I was trying to do what they teach you, i.e. look where you want the bike to go. So you're looking past the point where you're trying to avoid. You're looking exactly where you want to place the bike. So I was doing all that, but my eyeballs, no, they weren't doing that. I was looking over there with my head to the right, and my eyeballs were looking over there to the left. Must have looked like a right douche. Anyway, he could see all of this, the whites of my eyes, looking at this line that I'm trying to avoid, and I failed again. So, second time, absolutely gutted. I was devastated. I really wanted this. I visualized doing what I'm doing just now. I visualized myself on an adventure bike, going out and seeing amazing places, enjoying the road this way. This is what I was envisioning. And not to be able to do it because I couldn't do a U-turn. So anyway, I had to then go and sit my Mod 1 for a third time. At this time my heart was in my throat. I had no idea how I was going to do this. I could ride my bike. I was doing fine. And then it came to doing all of the U-turn and the figure of 8, then Burton stopped and all this. But anyway, when I was on my U-turn, oh geez, this was the moment. And of course it's doubly compounded now. It's the biggest challenge. And I managed, off I went, pulled off, put my head, indicated, my head over my shoulder, right round. And this time I made sure that my eyes were pointing in the same direction that my head were. So anyway, once I got past my U-turn, oh my god, that was me. I was so happy. It was as if I had passed my actual test. That was my Mod 1. I was allowed to go out now, and the next part of the test was Mod 2, which is just a motorcycle ride with an examiner behind you, giving you instructions in your ear. And I had all kinds of things going on that as well. I was in Musselburgh, coming back to the test centre. There was a big Arctic lorry broken down with its hazards on a slow round bend. Loads of cars parked up the left hand side of the truck, and I needed to go around the right hand side, but it was blind. I couldn't see anything. I had two choices: sit there, let the clock tick, or do something. And I was convinced that was me failed, because I decided to go safely, indicated, watched, observed the whole shebang. And we go back to the test centre, and he told me I'd passed, and we discussed that point. And he says, well, you know, I did it safely. There was sometimes when you're driving or riding, there are circumstances that are not ideal, and you have to be able to handle them. So my first bike was my Tracer 700. It's a black one. I fell in love with that bike. It was an amazing bike. And I remember going to pick it up for the first day. I was giddy. And also riding a big bike for the first time without anybody nipping my ears telling me what to do. So, yeah. The best feeling in the world. I outgrew my Tracer 700 pretty quickly. Don't know, the camera slims me, you see, but quite a big boy. I looked like Shrek on a Vespa with that, and so yeah, it was time to go big. Now my plan was to get the Yamaha Tracer 900, the GT, which was just newly released by Yamaha this particular year. I think it was 2018. And Two Wheels, the dealership in Edinburgh, the Triumph and Honda dealership, they were running an adventure day, and they were giving demos for people on the bikes, adventure bikes. So I had a shot of the 900, and it was just a sideward shift from the 700. It was just like, no, there's just no use stature wise. Went onto the 1200, sold straight away, bought it, bang, right there. So yeah, and then that would be my lady in red, the 18 plate, the Triumph Tiger, and then this. That's been my bikes. So yes, that's a story of how I've become a motorcyclist.